Tracing family trees in the Appalachian Mountains comes with a specific set of roadblocks. Between the historic destruction of rural county courthouses and the scarcity of early civil registration, traditional government records often leave complete blanks in your research. Looking at this map of Appalachia, we can trace an industrial expansion that helps fill those historical gaps. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the arrival of the chestnut blight killed off vast forests across the region. Timber companies rushed to harvest the dying trees, selling the tannin-rich wood and bark to leather producers. As a result, tanning shifted from scattered, small-scale domestic setups into massive, centralized commercial operations. Cartels like the United States Leather Company established company towns where the employer owned the houses, ran the local store, and even provided medical services. In towns like Elkland, Pennsylvania, a single leather company employed a third of the population and generated the community's electricity through its own private subsidiary. Because these companies documented every interaction, from worker paychecks to store credit, their surviving ledgers function as proxy censuses. They reveal the names and movements of families who lived and worked within these private systems, often escaping official government records entirely. This is an original company ledger book. Making leather was physically brutal, highly seasonal work, from peeling bark in the woods to scraping hides over foul-smelling vats. Because cash was scarce in these remote logging and farming communities, workers relied heavily on company store credit for their daily needs, running up long-term accounts recorded right here in these pages. When you look closely at these line item accounts, you find a barter-heavy economy at work. It was common practice for one individual to guarantee the credit of another, or to settle a neighbor's debt with their own labor and raw materials. Let's map a guarantor chain in these entries. A daybook might show individual A purchased leather on individual B's credit, or you might see individual B bringing in cords of oak bark to settle the balance of individual A. These financial arrangements were rarely random. In most cases, the guarantor was a father, brother, or father-in-law. By tracing these shared financial transactions over several years, researchers can reconstruct kin-based labor networks and identify potential marriages that were never recorded in county marriage registries. Working with these records requires navigating a few specific hurdles. In isolated mountain communities, families frequently reused the same first names. To avoid billing the wrong person, tanners added precise descriptors to their ledgers. You will routinely see patronymics, like John of Isaac, to designate the son of Isaac, or geographic tags, like John of Sandy Creek. You also have to be careful about assuming a name in a ledger means that person lived in the town year-round. The tanning industry relied heavily on seasonal work, like bark peeling, which was frequently performed by kin-based labor groups. This created intermittent residence patterns, where an ancestor might appear in the company book for a few months and then vanish. To solve this, practice cross-record triangulation. Take names from the business ledger and compare them against county records from the same year, connecting a cannery payroll worker to an absentee bark-right deed on the local tax roll. If you skip this triangulation step and rely on the ledger alone, you run the risk of attaching the wrong geographical family cluster to your tree. These ledgers are also effective at bypassing the historical legal document of coverture. Under coverture, a married woman had no independent legal identity. She could not own property or sign contracts in her own name, which effectively left her out of land deeds and tax rolls. Local tanyards, however, operated on practical economic trust. Because households functioned as cooperative units, tanners allowed wives and daughters to run accounts and trade farm produce, like butter or homespun textiles, to settle debts under the family name. Let's test this. Look at this simulated 1824 ledger for William Miller. Pause the video and look closely at the column of payments. Based on the goods being used to settle the debt, can you identify who else is contributing to the household? Notice the specific items. The ledger notes homespun textiles and butter were brought in by his wife Mary. In October, the tanner stamped the page to ensure accurate billing after the husband's death. Analyzing these specific barter entries provides direct proof of a wife's name and her active economic role. It restores maternal lines to the family tree and provides a narrow time frame for a patriarch's death when vital certificates are missing. You won't often find these industrial records sitting neatly indexed on massive mainstream genealogy platforms. This handwritten letter from a tanner is an example of the manuscript collections you need to hunt down. You have to search through state archives, local historical societies, and digital university portals. Use specific search keywords like merchant daybooks, industrial papers, or the names of massive regional cartels like the United States Leather Company. Here is your checklist for tackling these ledgers. First, map the guarantor chains to find hidden family networks. Second, look for patronymics to separate same-name individuals. Third, track the barter textiles and farm produce to locate female ancestors. And fourth, always triangulate your findings with county tax and deed rolls to verify actual residency. When traditional records disappear, you have to follow the paper trail of the local economy. Treating these industrial archives as cultural archaeology reveals the names, occupations, and migrations of families who lived outside the reach of official state documentation.
Thanks for watching. Please join us again next time for more history from the mountains. Don't forget to like and subscribe,